Hey there, Folsom fans. Today on our Heartbeat of Folsom journey, we've landed at a very special location, the Granite School, which is where a lot of things happen with Choose Folsom and the Folsom Chamber of Commerce. This spot not only houses important meetings and events hosted by the organization behind this incredible art project, but it's also home to the heart we're featuring today, On the Old Gold Line. But before we dive into the story behind the art, let's meet the talented Folsomite who brought it to life. Emily Shearer. Emily, a 2021 graduate of Folsom High School, shout out to the Folsom Bulldogs, isn't just a local artist. She's deeply passionate about giving back to our community, especially when it comes to those experiencing homelessness. That passion, combined with her diverse artistic skills, from paints and sculpting to collages, made her the perfect choice for this Heartbeat of Folsom piece. Want to see more of Emily's work? Check out the link to her Instagram in the description of this video. She's also open for commissions, so if you need a touch of Folsom magic in your life, you know who to contact. Now let's get back to this beautiful heart and the story Emily poured into it. Emily, thank you for agreeing to sit here and take this interview about your artwork here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Heartbeat of Folsom Project is has been a great idea. I love it. Which I decided to make the Heartbeat of Folsom series on my YouTube channel. And so, Emily, if you could do me a favor, tell me and everybody else what inspired you for the art on this heart here.
Yeah, of course. So my biggest inspiration was actually my own experiences with Folsom. I don't live in Folsom, but I went to middle school and high school here, and I was just really embraced by the Folsom community, and I made a lot of really good friends and relationships that'll last me my whole life here. And so I wanted to pay homage to the history of Folsom's community through a timeline of the buildings that have been built here. Since you can tell a lot about a community from what it deems valuable enough to build monuments or buildings for.
Oh, nice. And to keep what was built instead of just get rid of it and build something new.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So each building on the heart is related to kind of the culture that I've experienced here, and starting from the oldest buildings to the newest ones over here.
Oh yeah, and I love that. And there's this transition here I love between the train and the light rail.
Yeah.
And then the steam or smoke, whatever kind of train this was, probably a steam engine, the steam coming out and then going over here. Once it crossed over here, it's not steam anymore. It's clouds.
Yeah.
Right? So that's pretty cool.
This was the coolest thing I learned while doing my research, which was Folsom was founded because of the Old Gold Line railroad that was the first across the nation railroad, across from the East Coast to the West Coast, and it's kind of what put Folsom on the map. And the light rail actually goes on the same train tracks as the Old Gold Line did today. So I just thought that was a really cool connection to the past.
I just learned something new. I did not know it was the same tracks.
Yeah, it's the exact same. It's the exact same tracks as when it was built.
Awesome. Yeah. The title of the art here is On the Old Gold Line.
Yeah, so
right?
Since that was that was the part of my research that actually spoke to me the most, was like the history is so embedded in the town that most people have interacted with it without even realizing it, that I wanted that to be the title of it, just so that people are like, I wonder why that's the name of the art piece, and then it leads down this really wonderful rabbit hole of research.
What about this makes this? I know you talked about it a little bit. You talked about going to school here, making friends here, and being embraced by the community. Is there anything else that makes the art here that you've done here special to you?
Yeah, so there's a couple little things that I put in just because they are personal to me or they amused me somehow. One of them being this little marching band that you see up front. So I was a part of the Folsom High School marching band for a couple of years, and that's where I got to know a lot of my friends, and it's even where I met my boyfriend, who I'm still with today. And I wanted to include that in front of the Harris Center, partially because it's like connection to music there, but also just because that's how the music program at Folsom High was where I got my strongest relationships other than like family. And so I wanted to include that as like a personal memory. Also on the back of it is the Hawkins Studio of Performing Arts. My mom teaches there. Because she teaches there, my sister and I got to have free lessons there growing up. And I really had a wonderful experience with that, but my sister especially did. She did tap for probably 10 years. She's still a dancer today. She actually has even used her dancing for ministry. Like she did a dance ministry in Costa Rica, which was like a really cool experience for her, and it wouldn't have happened without Hawkins Studio in Folsom. So,
Oh,
and then also I included Johnny Cash because you have to.
I didn't notice that. The Man in Black's right there. I didn't notice that when I saw this before.
You gotta have Johnny Cash if
Yeah.
you're talking about Folsom.
And music and arts.
Exactly. So this whole section is kind of dedicated to the arts. These are actors from some of the productions at the Harris Center.
Oh, nice.
And then this was a performance at the Harris Center as well. I forget the group, but I could probably find the name of that if I went back into my research.
Wow, and the Harris Center is so important to Folsom. It's such a center of art and culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love the Harris Center and its location.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's gorgeous.
It's on the hill and like.
Yeah, of course. The building itself is so big that I had to choose a section of it to paint because there's more of it on this direction and on this direction. I just was like, I can't give it that much real estate.
Of course, and there's so much about Folsom. You know, you have to like. All right, that one I can't put that in there. Can't put that in. I only have this much real estate to work on.
I know. It was very hard to choose. I wanted to include the Rainbow Bridge. I wanted to include the Johnny Cash Bridge. There were a couple other landmarks that I just ran out of room for, like the Intel building, because there is a massive section of the population that is supported by the Intel company.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wanted to include that building, but it's just like I didn't have enough room.
But you know what? So some other artists picked up the slack on some of those places, and they're on the other hearts around Folsom, which you'll see in other videos. Why don't you take us through your art in the proper order, the way you designed it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And explaining what's going on in each of the scenes.
Yeah, of course. We start here with the Old Gold Line, which I've already talked a little bit about. That's kind of where Folsom's origins started. This is the old Wells Fargo building, which was a very hard building to find a photo of. But it's another thing that really kind of settled Folsom as a community. So that's the original building. I found some time period accurate people to put in. And then this over here is, first of all, the start of the powerhouse building, which was incredibly important in just California history in general. But in front of it is the first volunteer fire department that Folsom created. So they bought the truck themselves. The community pooled together to be able to afford all of the resources it needed, and no one was on payroll for being a firefighter at the time. It was just volunteers in the community. So I thought that really showed, I don't know, like the community spirit that was in it from the very start. Then we have Folsom City Hall. I wanted to show like the kind of the importance of that space being not only for all of the important governmental stuff that goes on there, but as like a space for like joyous occasions. Like there's a little couple getting married here with a crowd of happy people. There's important like business people that use this space a lot. It's also somewhere where it's not just used for business, it's used for recreation. Like a lot of the Folsom fundraisers for the music program were there. Like the crab feed is there. All of those are there. But then towards the back, we have Hawkins Studio of Performing Arts, which I already talked a little about. And it's really a fantastic studio. It was started by Deirdre Hawkins, and her son, Luke Hawkins, is actually a incredibly successful Broadway singer and Broadway dancer. He's phenomenal. He's kind of big over in New York now. And so like a lot of humble starts led to great things at this studio. And it's got all different styles. So I tried to represent all the different styles that you find there. Next we have the Folsom City Zoo. And that one I just kind of included for fun, but also you can tell a lot about people by the way they treat animals, and the fact that there is a zoo that treats animals so well here says a lot about the care that the people here have for the environment and all that. Next we have Kaiser Hospital. that's important for obvious
yeah.
reasons, providing a lot of important medical service to the community. And so I have like a nurse leading out a young boy. I've got patients that are rehabilitating. I've got a couple nurses. I included, this was after COVID, and so I included a couple nurses in like the full scrubs to show the dedication that they had to the community during the whole pandemic,
Yeah.
and how much work and how much sacrifice they put into that. I love this little scene here. I know that's weird to say about my own art, but I'm really happy that I included this this new couple with their new baby, because it's like, it's a very family friendly city.
Yeah.
You can find a very wide variety of ages here, and it's just very diverse. I quite like that.
It's one of the things I love about Folsom.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just a lot of, when you get a lot of minds together that have different experience, you get something really beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Next, I included the Folsom City Library. That one was one of the most complicated ones to paint, because not only is it on the edge of the heart, already kind of warping your perspective of it, but it's a very cylindrical building. So that presented some challenges, but I think it turned out all right. That is kind of, I got a fantastic education here, and so I wanted to kind of thank the city for that. And then I believe we've talked about the Harris Center a bit already, but just to do a quick recap, I think it's such a beautiful center to art and culture in Folsom, and like musically and theatrically and all of that. It's such an important place for people to be able to go and engage in culture and engage in music and get a bit of a reprieve from the world or learn more about the world. So I think it's a fantastic building. And then I have the light rail that connects back to the old cold line, and I wanted to include these two children together, kind of mimicking each other's poses, almost as if they're playing together.
Yeah.
Across time.
Yeah, it's like the modern child is chasing the child from the past.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, it's a smaller detail, but the crowd at the bottom is supposed to make this feel like a parade, like a celebration of the history that's in this city. And so they also wrap all the way around the heart.
All right, very good. Thank you for sharing so much detail of what's going on in art. I think a lot of times people see art and they don't know exactly what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And yeah, they can look at this, they can tell that's a Harris Center, right? They can say, well, that's one of the historic buildings in historic Folsom, you know, but they don't see the thought that went behind it all, the story, right? And so I really appreciate, and I'm sure our viewers here appreciate you sharing the story that's taking place in your art.
Yeah.
Because that's what the art is. Art is about stories,
it
right?
Really is.
And feelings and the more abstract things.
Absolutely.
Right? Not the obvious. Okay, that's a tree. Okay, so
yeah, exactly.
Right? There's more to it than that. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share with all of us the story behind the art.
I really appreciate your invitation to do so, because it's not very often that artists get to sit down and have someone ask genuine questions about, like, why is this here? What does it mean to you? And actually be interested in hearing all of the little details that, like, we as artists put all of our thought and time into, but other people might not be as interested in. So I really appreciate that as well.
Some of your work is available to be seen on your Instagram account.
Yeah.
Right? And so people can see your work on Instagram. What's your Instagram account?
It's at Emily Shearer Studio. So it's very easy, just my name and then studio.
All right, very good. And you are available for commission if someone wanted some artwork done for their business or just a painting for their home or whatever, you're available?
Absolutely. I do painting and sculpture primarily, and so I'm always open for commission, and most of the pieces on my page are also for sale, even if it doesn't say it in the description. And so if there's any piece that people are interested in, just shoot me a quick email or reach out to me over Instagram, and I'll be sure to respond.
Emily, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about your art. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.